I know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to free your mind.
Uncover the face that the Lord created so it can be seen. Tired of the fake trending all over the place. We just want to be free. There's no fear with faith is praise until we're hiding underneath. Won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government. Won't have it any other way, it's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say, it's God over the government.
I'm trying to free your mind.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Here we are again with our international resistance segment with our co-host GJ, Wobnart, and Kristen. Yeah. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us again tonight. Before we start, let's just say our short prayer to our Almighty Father. Okay, and then we can just go on straight away. Okay. Thank you, Father. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, we worship you and praise your holy name. This moment, we will continue to learn and acquire your new knowledge from GJ, Christine, and Wobnart, and from everyone that we may encounter today. May you bless us with witty brain to think fast, and inquiry mind to be curious on whatever knowledge we will hear and learn from you today. Thank you so much for this international segment with Kuya Mel Lugod, our technical director behind the stage. And we ask all this in the name of Christ Jesus. Amen. Okay, let's continue po, Kuya. And JJ, Wobnart, say hello to our
Yes.
viewers.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
Glad to see
Christine.
everybody here again this week.
Christine, our our hiding co-host, and of course Wobnart from Israel. Welcome.
Yeah. Hi, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you for being here.
yeah. Thank you so much. So of today, our segment will be different. We want to read all your comments, just comments, and we will read it out and answer your questions. So yeah, please do so, and we will let GJ, Wobnart, and Christine to teach us about natural law, common law, God's law. This is all mixed up. So we will listen to what they learned from the research for a long time ago. And I know Wobnart researched for 15 years. JJ has a podcast for 3 years with more than Jabber. So yeah, we will learn from them. Thank you so much for coming to our international segments. GJ, Christine, and Wobnart. The platform is yours. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you having us on and helping us to spread this message, because it's the message that's important, not my ugly face or whatever. I mean, it's, so today I want to talk more about consent. Last week we went over the morality of government, and today is more about the morality of myself or you or anybody else that it goes into this idea of we have to accept these man-made governments and do what they say because at the end of the day, it's governments are they go against God's principles, right? I mean, people claim that government turn people into slaves and all this stuff, and that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Is that it's not slavery in the way that people think that it is. It's voluntary servitude. So what I'm going to start off with is, since we have a large Philippine audience, let me do a screen share here. And I'm going to share to you what I brought up on a Google search. It says, let me make sure everybody can see that. There we go. Oh, perfect. All right. It says basically that the U.S. Congress approved the Philippines Act on July 1st of 1902, which provided the Philippines with a limited self-government. The U.S. government replaced the military government in the Philippines with a civilian government headed by William Howard Taft on July 4th, 1902. So, the Philippine government was established and based on the U.S. model. So what I'm going to be providing everyone here today with as a little bit of research homework for you to go and do is I'm going to bring up another tab that has to do with the American Constitution, or not the American Constitution, but the United States Constitution, because that is the government that is supposedly in America, but it's not. The jurisdiction is very limited. So with the establishment and the ratification of the 13th Amendment, okay, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit so that you guys can see this. I pulled this right off of Google, okay. 13th Amendment, just a simple Google search, 13th Amendment. You can see that right here. Can you guys see that okay?
Yes. It's good.
Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay. So the 13th Amendment reads as follows: neither slavery nor involuntary servitude. Okay. Now, notice that it doesn't include voluntary servitude. So I'll read it again. Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted. Now, duly convicted, most people don't know what that means. It means in not only the legal world, the legal society, and the rules that apply under that, but it also means lawfully. And the two are very different from each other. They are not the same thing. A lot of people get confused and think that legal and lawful are the same thing, and they're not. And there are times that they can be, but I'm not going to go into that today, because the main point that I'm trying to make here is that slavery nor involuntary servitude is permitted under the 13th Amendment, okay, or any place subject to Notice it says their jurisdiction. Oops, what did I do? There we go. So there being who? We the people. We the people are the United States Congress assembled. They are not the common man. We can we're going to go into that in a little bit more detail here in just a little bit. But what I want to point out to everybody is that all government, I don't care which government we're talking about, even if we're talking about the kingdom of heaven, okay, all governments are surrendered to through consent. So it's going to, it doesn't matter if we're talking about the United States, the European Union, NATO, the Philippines, the New Zealand government, all these governments, they are government by consent. And that is why in the 13th Amendment that voluntary servitude is not excluded. So notice that, again, this is a major point that people need to comprehend, because everybody says, "Oh, well, we're all slaves under these tyrannical governments," and it's voluntary. People subject themselves to that jurisdiction and to that government willingly. Now, if we go and look up the 14th Amendment, let me bring that up real quick. It right here, it says all persons born or naturalized in the United States and notice it's not or, but and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. No state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens. Okay, so these are very important things that I'm pointing out here this morning. Notice that citizens do not have rights. They have privileges and immunities. And again, this applies to every man-invented government. I don't care what nation or country or where we're talking about in the world. Every government citizen, okay, only has privileges and immunities. Now, what that means is that those privileges and immunities can be taken away and stripped from the citizen at any time. Now, why is that? Because these governments invent the citizenry. They're the ones that, Obama in his farewell speech, he made a statement that the office of the citizen is one of the most cherished in all of government. Okay, I'm paraphrasing, but he specifically called it the office of citizen. Well, I thought, most people believe that citizen is a man or a woman, and that's not true. Now, notice that this does not say man or woman, but it says all persons. And again, I'm bringing up these persons things because in a couple of weeks we're going to get into what person is. So notice that it does not say man or woman. It only states persons, okay, that are in. That keeps closing on me for some reason. And subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. Again, the same thing is going to apply to whatever government we're talking about. because it's government by consent. Now, one of the next things that I'm going to bring up here is a not a Supreme Court case. It's a this is a Supreme Court case from North Carolina in 1796, and I want to make sure that that's coming through. There it is. Okay, so in this case, this is right after the Revolutionary War, and this man Neal basically had refused to give allegiance to the United States government. He refused to renounce his fealty to King George. So, they were trying to take his property and all kinds of other stuff. And he basically sued them. And the court ruled this, and the most important thing here it is not only what I have highlighted, but right above it. It is not a rule binding upon mankind in their natural state. Okay? So, in other words, all of these forms of government, okay, and what the majority decide is not binding on any man, okay, regardless of, that's where the person comes in, right? Because it becomes binding on the person because the person is purely legal. It's not. It's a construct of the mind, just like governments are. So basically, we want to get to this, what I have highlighted here. Every man is independent of all laws except those prescribed by nature. In other words, God's law. That's the only law that we are bound to, that we can never escape. Okay? He is not bound by any institutions. Any institution includes governments formed by his fellow men without what? His consent. Now, we know that in the Declaration of Independence, Thomas Jefferson wrote that, governments derive their just powers by the consent of the governed. So, in other words, without the consent of someone willing to be governed, those governments have no power. All of their power withers away in an instant because they have nothing to govern. There's nothing that is granting them the authority to make decisions for them. There's no man or woman doing that. Pardon me. Now I'm going to switch over here to one more window that I have open. And this is another case from their rulings. Okay. Rights of the individual are not derived from government agencies, either municipal, state, federal, or even from the Constitution. Now, we were talking before the show, France, that people don't know where their rights come from. A lot of people, even over here in America, they believe that their rights come from that Constitution, that, the United States Constitution. So many people around the world, they have no idea where their rights come from. They believe that the government grants them rights. And we know by looking at the 13th Amendment that the government doesn't grant rights. It grants privileges and immunities. So here we are again, this is them saying this. Okay, this is actors for those agencies, because this is a judicial agency, okay, that rendered this decision in this case. And they said flat out, your rights don't come from any form of government or document. Okay, because at the end of the day, that's all the Constitution is somebody wrote down on a piece of paper, and a bunch of people agreed to act under it and granted that piece of paper authority over them. Okay, so they go on to say here, they, meaning rights, exist inherently in every man. Now, I will add woman to that as well, by endowment of the Creator. Okay, we're back to natural law again, just like in the Cruden case. Okay, and are merely reaffirmed in the Constitution. Well, this is the tricky part, because they're not even reaffirmed in the Constitution, because the Constitution doesn't have any authority over man in his natural state, right? That's what they just said in the Cruden case. Okay, but now here's the tricky part. Here's where it gets really interesting. Okay, so the rights are restricted only to the extent that they have been voluntarily surrendered by what? The citizenship to the agencies of that government. So here we go. Okay, this is all about consent. We have to consent for these governments to do anything to us in our natural state. What is our natural state? As God created us, as a man or a woman. So how do we get trapped into giving our consent? Well, we trap ourselves. We form this idea in our own mind that we have to go along with what everybody else is doing. We can't step outside of that flawed thinking and move away from it, because we're not willing to. Because I hear this argument a lot from people. It's not really an argument. It's really sad, in my opinion, that, well, it's just too hard to do what you're talking about, JJ. It's just too hard to do that. Well, I live in the city. I can't grow my own food. I can't do this and I can't do that. Well, can't, never could. What's that old thing, Christine, about was it Thomas the train engine or something? I think I can. I think I can. I think I can.
Thomas the train. It was just a little engine.
The little engine that could.
Right.
Yeah. So it's a little nursery rhyme thing, or nursery. It's a.
Look, Nike said it best. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just okay.
Well, my point though is my point though is with the little train that could, the story goes that, it had such a massive load and had to get up this severe incline, so this severe grade, and it tried. It kept trying and trying, but it never gave up. It just kept thinking, I can do this, and the more it kept arguing with the fact that it was struggling, saying I can do this, it done the task. It made it possible through its own effort. It manifested what it desired. So, and that's where people get hung up, because they're not looking to manifest what they wish. They're looking to someone else to do for them. And that's where we end up consenting into these different systems. Now, let's take this this whole thing that's going on in Canada right now, where they're arresting the truckers in that trucker convoy, and they're seizing the bank accounts and all that stuff. Well, why is it that the government of Canada is able to do that? Because those people, those men and women, are using the government's property, the government's person. They're acting in the capacity of a citizen. And that is why these governments are able to move against men and women, because they've set their rights aside, okay, and surrendered to act as in the capacity of office of citizen, and accepted privileges and immunities as opposed to exercising their God-given rights. And that's what we're talking about here. So that's the main message that we're presenting to people, is that, you know, if you don't agree with what the government is doing to its property, its citizen, its legal person, then put that thing down and be in your natural state. At the end of the day, it really is that simple. And, you know, it's not, saying that it's that simple means that it is a simple choice, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be a simple action. Yeah. That's because it takes a lot to move outside of that system. And, you know, I'm speaking about this firsthand, being a, you know, off-grid homesteader. It takes a lot to, you know, a lot of work, a lot of, you know, time and energy invested into being able to provide not only for myself, but my family. And so, but people are so used to wanting to outsource that stuff and have become complacently lazy that's what makes it difficult for them in their mind. Because, and they complain when, you know, these governments try to enforce things on them. Like, let's take, for instance, the jab, you know, but it's no different. Lawyer saying that, you know, well, all employees must wear a specific uniform when they're acting in that role. And that's all governments are doing. They're saying that this is what they're requiring of their employee. Okay, because a citizen is a type of employee of the government, because it's being employed to carry out a certain action. So any questions from France or Harry at this point before I continue on, or interjections from anybody?
Harry or Christine?
Yeah, I would like to, first I want to say that what you present, JJ, is incredible and very important. And I would actually like to ask the audience to write comments and to explain what they understand back to us, so we can make sure that they understand it properly, because it's the fundamentals of what JJ is teaching are so important that I want to make sure that people understand it. So can you please write back a sentence or something, so we can actually clarify and see that you understand it properly, because it's very hard to continue and build up on something unless the fundamentals are understood. So if you guys can be so kind to, you know, to explain back to us what is the main key that you understand.
Thank you, Wolvenart. That's a good idea. And you're absolutely correct.
Thank you, Emil. Do you have more time if I ask you to explain things? Do you have more time for your topic tonight? I just want you to explain what are the difference of man and woman to the citizenship, because I think we have a lot of viewers doesn't understand that yet. What are our rights being a man and woman and citizen, being a citizen? So they really need to understand that slowly,
Okay. Well,
and properly, because it took me a while to understand that. And when I heard you, I have to research it myself. And I got that because I keep hearing from the beginning with Wobnart about man and woman. And I said, what is Wobnart talking now about man and woman? Now I kind of get it, but I think a lot of our viewers don't get it. So do you mind?
well, man and
Explaining
woman
to
is
the-
what God creates. It's the flesh and blood vessel that contains the spirit and essence that God brought into existence. Man cannot and has not invented the process of which life has occurred. Man could never have brought about me, without that process that is there, where man and woman create child and offspring. That's made by God. That's created by God. That whole process, man can never ever accomplish that. So and a citizen only exists in the belief. There is no such thing as a citizen without man's belief that it exists. Citizens don't exist in nature. There is no citizens of the woodlands. There is no citizens, of the field. There's no citizens of the air. There's no citizens of the water. It's something that is invented by man, put on paper, and it's so basically the easiest way that I can explain it is it's a script for a play or a movie or a TV show. That it's a character that a man or a woman picks up and says, "Hey, I think I can do a good job of bringing the illusion of life to this idea." And that's really, at the end of the day, that's all it is. Citizenry is just an idea, a belief. So that's the main difference. A man or a woman can act as a person, okay, but a person such as citizen can never be or even act as a man or a woman. And there you have it. I mean, the citizen can't decide one day to do anything because it doesn't have a consciousness. It's just a belief system. It's the man or woman that choose to act as that thing that, like I said, that give it the illusion of life. It's a completely dead entity, dead meaning void of life. So, and governments are the same thing. Governments are just an idea, a belief system, because without man giving it the appearance of life, the illusion of life, it stops existing. The police officer, okay, can't do anything without a man or a woman stepping into that role and acting as a police officer. The same thing goes for any politician or seat in Congress or legislative branch or presidential office. All of these things are dead without man acting that character out. And they I end up watching a lot of stuff just to see how they say stuff, right? And I watched an interview where it was the acting deputy director for some branch of the Department of Justice. Okay, they say that they're acting all the time. That acting this or the acting judge, the acting, they come out and say this all the time. It's an act. It's just a script that they're following, and they have rules that that apply to them. They don't apply to me. They don't apply to anybody that isn't acting in that capacity. So yeah, I hope I answered your question, because that's a real fundamental point, that people need to understand, is that, all of these things can never be man or woman, but man or woman can always choose to act as those things.
Yeah, I think this is the time that we need to act as men and women, because before we don't know that. And as I said, as a citizen of the New Zealand, I was so happy that I was granted with citizenship. I was so happy, but now I think it doesn't exist to what is happening to our world now. So we have to go back to men and women thinking.
Let me ask you this: when you became a citizen of New Zealand, did you have to swear an oath?
Yes, and we were so happy because you have the right to do anything you like. It was like, okay, that was, I think I was a citizen.
Well, actually, you had
15 years ago.
Okay, but before you decided to pick up that character and start acting as that thing, you actually had rights prior to that. And as soon as you started acting as a citizen, you waived those rights. And now you've accepted privileges and immunities that can be stripped away from you at any time if you don't act the certain way that government has decided that the citizen should act as.
Mm.
So that's where a lot of people think that that they're slaves of the government, and that's only half of the truth. The truth is that they volunteered to be in that position. They volunteered. They consented to have that done to them through picking up that character. So, and that's a lot of what we have to overcome in our thinking is, we have to be able to separate, this is me in my natural state. As soon as I start acting as a person, and, whether that be a taxpayer, a resident, a driver's person. So in other words, whenever I use a driver's license, or any of those things that involve government permission, now I'm waiving my rights and I'm acting as that person. So, and I'm consenting to do that. And as it's, as it pointed out in, the Dallas case, those rights are surrendered, to that citizenry. And we, it's, again, I used the example of renting a car. If I go to a car rental place to rent a car, well, I'm using their property, so therefore I have to do the things that they are permitting me to do, the privilege that they're allowing me to drive their car. I have to follow those privileges, and abide by the terms of that agreement. And the same thing applies with the property of governments. If people are, talking about, trying to claim the birth certificate or all of this other nonsense, and they don't realize that stuff doesn't belong to them, and it's not theirs to begin with, and we get charged a fee, okay, for using that property, and it's called taxation. And taxation is actually, I used to hold this belief that taxation was theft, but the more that I've learned, the more I realize that taxation isn't theft; it's a usury fee, and it's a fee that goes along with using the government's property, and acting as the citizen or the driver's person or all of these other things, that all of these other persons that are invented by the government to, basically to have more of a control over the men and women that choose to act in that capacity.
Yeah.
So it's, it is slavery, but at the end of the day, it's a slavery that we chose to step into.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ask them in Philippines if they can write back the feedback if they comprehend the consent aspect, because it was just said in English.
Yeah, could you hear her, France?
Not quite. Can you repeat, please? I can't barely hear. It's too far.
Speak up.
Okay, so I was wondering if you could say it in Filipino, so this way that the listeners
Had a
can
question?
hear it, in their native tongue. Yeah, about the consent, about if they can give feedback regarding consent.
This way we know if they're comprehending
Comprehension.
what I'm saying.
I have to
Ask-
tell them.
Ask them in Tagalog to explain back to us in a comment, or even if they want to come to a small conversation of a minute. We want to understand that they understand. We
Okay.
need the feedback because it's
yeah.
very important.
Yeah.
what he's
If they
teaching.
understand it, I don't know. Yeah, it's still English, but if you understand in English, you are welcome to comment in Tagalog what you want to ask about what our topic today: men and women, citizenship, and natural law. So welcome po, and we will translate it to English and translate
No,
our answer
Fans,
as well.
Fans, no, not questions. I want, if you can tell the people, the audience, in Tagalog, to ask them if they understand what JJ is teaching. We need to have a feedback.
Okay.
So they should explain in a comment, in a short way, if they understand,
Okay.
and to say a little bit what they understand, so we can build up from that.
Okay. Okay. Our GJ, do you mind? Hold on a minute. Pwede ba daw ninyong i-comment kung naintindihan nyo po yung mga sinasabi ni JJ? Just comments below. There po, kung ano po yung naintindihan ninyo sa mga sinabi niya ngayon. Okay. Thank you. Okay na. We'll wait for that. If they understood
it helps.
what you-
It helps a lot It helps a lot to get the feedback from the people that are listening. That's the reason why I try to get people that are hearing this to come over to the Natural Law Wisdom Group on Telegram, so that if what I'm saying to them, they're having questions. If what they're hearing on this show, they're having questions, come there so that we can, you can get those questions answered. There's a lot more people there in the Natural Law Wisdom Group that, even know just as much as I do or more.
Hold on,
But go ahead.
Judy said, sorry, can you repeat just now? Listening. Thanks. Okay. Sabi po niya, kung ano po daw yung naintindihan ninyo, paki-comments po kung naintindihan ninyo ang pinagsasabi ni GJ. O kung hindi po, okay, pwede pong, kasi he said, can you repeat? He just listen. But can you just listen and, yeah, comments below what you understand to what he said. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yan
Yeah,
na
I
po.
kind of went
Sinabi
through
ko
a
na.
lot there.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I think I can
Harry,
kind
can
of
you post in the?
Yeah, I think I can
ahead.
explain a bit of what you're saying about the citizen. The citizen of the country, you have to obey the government. So you are like the government can do anything they want to you as a slave. Because I was happy that I was a citizen, but then I was working because I want a good life. I was working like sometimes 99 hours a week just to get the thing that I want when that was like 20 years ago. So I work because I didn't know that I thought, as a man and woman, I have to work hard because that's how, we are. We come here to work. But now I suddenly wake up that life is not just like that. You have to, take time and enjoy life, not just to work. I'm starting to learn from you a lot.
Everything we do is a form of work. I mean, the product of our investment of our labor and our energy and time, we can accept these paper notes that are again, supposed to be a representation of that time, energy, and labor. Or we can just directly bear the fruits of that almost literally by, going out and picking the food out of the garden, or, like Christine and myself do,
There's
we slaughter a cow or a pig or a chicken or whatever, so there's many different ways to achieve the same end goal. It's just, are we going to use a system that's going to place a lot of constraints on us, or are we going to step outside that system and be free?
Yeah. Kuya, can you put back the question? Yeah, there you go. That is Pastor Nicanor, our guest last time. Divine government law overrode all the laws of the government of the world. Is that a question or just what's that, Pastor? Is that a question or what's that?
It's a very confused statement. There is no such thing as law spelled L-A-W in all caps. There is a supreme law that comes from the Almighty that is spelled capital L-A-W. Every law that that is an invention of man through legislation or whatever the form of government is a lowercase L-A-W. And they, if you consent into that government, then that's the law you must follow. Obviously that God can't overrule that law because it's outside of God's jurisdiction, because man has stepped and turned his back on God and turned to a false idol.
Through free will.
Through his own free will. He expressed that by, voting for another man to decide for him. So that's not really really correct. And then that's part of the confusion that people have. At the end of the day, we're all going to face judgment. When we're done in this life, we've got to step before the Creator and be judged for what we've done. Now, it's my thinking that I'm going to be judged for consenting and turning my back on the Creator for the way that I did it for a part of my life until I started figuring this stuff out. Now, hopefully, because I've tried to make amends for that mistake, he'll take it easy on me, but I've still got to face that judgment and pay those consequences.
I think JJ, they don't understand what you mean about all capital because they haven't, what you researched, like the 23 minutes video that you showed me. They don't know that yet. We need to have that for another topic next time. Why this thing? You have to explain that next time why. Because sometimes I also, like most of the time, I have to do all capitals just to see it, but we didn't know what that means. For you, because you did the research. You know what it means?
Well, I'll tell you. I'll say this on that briefly. There's no word in the English language, and I challenge anybody that's listening to the sound of my voice. If you find one, please show it to me. But I have not found, and I've been through a dictionary. I have one sitting right here. I've been through this dictionary. Well, where'd it go? There it is. Okay. Pretty thick dictionary. There's no word in the English language. Okay. In the English language that is written in all caps. And it is so anything that's written in all caps isn't there. It doesn't appear in the English language. It's like it's a waste of ink because I can't read it. That is something that only exists in legalese. So there's and legalese is not English. It's a different language. So it's called mixing jurisdictions.
Oh, there.
So what does it mean, the natural law? Are you talking about customary law? No, natural law. Natural law states if I hit my thumb with a hammer, it's going to hurt. It doesn't matter if I'm in Finland, America, the Philippines, New Zealand, Australia. It doesn't matter where in the world I'm at. It doesn't matter if I'm on the moon. If I hit my thumb with a hammer, it's going to hurt. That's natural law. Natural law is absolute, unrefutable truth. You can't escape it. It is the foundation of life. Natural law says that the sun will rise in the morning because it's an established absolute. If it doesn't, we're all in trouble. We got more things to worry about because I think that we're about to go before judgment. So basically, natural law is absolute truth. It's not legalese. It's not customary law. It's not
anything man created.
It's not any of that stuff. It's the basic foundation that exists in nature as absolute truth. Truth is not relative. What is true for me must be true for you. What is true, period. Something that is true cannot be false. That's called relativism. So yeah, it's now natural law can be referred to as common law because it is a unwritten form of law, and it's also the most common law to all mankind because it applies to all man and women. Like I said, it's you can't escape natural law ever. Now, customary law, I can get around. I can move around customary law by simply going somewhere that doesn't honor that that custom. I can get around other forms of legislation in, let's say, New Zealand, France. If I don't wish to abide by New Zealand's law, I can become foreign to that law by being in my natural state. Or I can just move to a piece of dirt that's outside their jurisdiction and their venue. So there's man's law. It can be manipulated, and it is all the time, and it's very confusing. Natural law is really simple. Okay, natural law can be expressed, and law is always expressed, never implied. But natural law can be expressed as simply as do no wrong. Okay. And another way to express that is that my rights end where yours begin. So if I do something that I think is a right, but it causes harm, an injury, or a loss to someone else, then I have caused a violation of natural law. I've caused a wrong to someone. So I hope that
We have a
answers
lot.
those two questions.
Thank you, Pastor Nick. We have so many questions now. So can we
Okay.
there Judy Bing, Kuya Mil, we are natural sinners, even we are born again Christians. Some still looking back of what they started, that is not fully surrendered in God, so they can 180 degrees turning back. People should stick in discipline, obey that's natural law. Is that correct?
That's coming from a theological argument, and I don't argue people's theology. I don't claim to be Christian. I don't claim to be in any religion, because again, doing the study that I've done, I've come to the determination that religion is just another form of government. My belief is that my relationship with God is my relationship with God, and that every man and woman has to figure out what that is for themselves. People who study the incorrect information and go around and try to say that this is the way it is because that's their belief, it becomes very dangerous. And this is why I present things for people to go study, like these cases that I presented this morning. Simple Google searches, with the 14th Amendment, 13th Amendment, the establishment of the Philippine government by the United States in 1902. These things are readily at people's fingertips. I mean, I found this stuff, most of this stuff within seconds. It's not a lot of work to go and research this stuff. And that's what I stress to everybody. Don't take my word for anything that I'm saying. Don't just accept what I'm saying. Go and look at this stuff for yourself so you can make your own decision. And it's getting kind of loud here. Our puppies
We can hear them.
deciding that is here.
It's feeding time.
Yeah, they're here.
Oh,
you go.
wow. Cute.
There's 6 of these running around here, and Mama is tired.
Now we have 2 dogs here. There's one there below. Yeah, one more question. We have more questions. Shall we read it?
Yep, go ahead.
From Yerna Siguiente. Is natural law is God's law? Example, 10 Commandments.
As far as my belief, okay, yes, because if you look at the 10 Commandments, the 10 Commandments are basically don't cause a harm to someone else. Don't murder. Don't covet. Don't steal. Don't, lay down. Don't do all of these things that will cause someone else a harm. But now what's the first commandment? The first commandment is don't have any God other than the Almighty. And what do? We're all guilty of placing government in the place of God, in the place of the Creator. So we're all guilty of violating that first commandment, that first law that Moses supposedly handed down, to the Jews or the Hebrews. Right, Harry?
Harry?
Help me out here.
Our expert read the Bible. John actually read the Bible 15 times. Did you say that? And Harry reading the Bible as well. So they know. They read most of the books. So it's good to learn from them.
Well,
Harry, do you want to say
actually,
something?
Harry, Harry, I have a question for you. So the 10 Commandments, right? It from Hebrew to English. Is the commandment "Thou shalt not kill" or is it "Thou shalt not murder"? Because there is a difference.
Do not murder.
Do not murder. There you go.
Yeah.
Wasn't there 15 also?
I'm not getting into that.
Okay.
Yeah, Harry's.
Wow, these guys are getting really loud. Sorry about that. So, what about the first commandment, Harry?
It says, "Anochi Adonai Elohecha asher hotziatecha me'eretz Mitzrayim." I am the God. I'm the God. I'm the one who actually took you out of Egypt.
There you go.
Okay, that's the first commandment.
Yeah. And then the second one is don't make to any other god before me. Don't make a statue or an image, and basically, don't walk other gods. Don't have idols before you. Things like that.
Right. Okay. So, I'm glad you went there, Harry. So,
Let's talk about it. It's good topic. Let's continue up to 10.
So, let's do this. I was kind of disappointed that the intro that I put together this past week didn't get used this morning. So let me bring up. Hold on a minute. Give me a second. My fingers are not wanting to work here.
Just letting the audience know that we talk about natural law, common law, God's law, and the law of the land. So we're all mixed up here.
Now, law of the land is a different subject, and we're not going to get into that today because people have that all mixed up as well.
Yeah, not now, but this is our topic here for international resistance. We talk about that a lot, so we will cover. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, so we're not just like people will say that we don't talk about the Bible, but so many people talking about the Bible now, so we have to teach them what are the mistakes of Christians. I mean, they believe in the Bible so much, but they're lost. A lot of them are lost, no matter how long they study the Bible. They're still lost. So this is what they need.
So Harry,
okay, come on.
Harry, can you repeat the commandment that says about statues and what?
What to say it in Hebrew?
No, in English. So what does it say?
It's basically say you should not have any other gods before me. Do not make a statue or an image.
All right, pause right there.
Excuse
image.
Me? Yeah.
I was asking you to pause.
Yes.
So It's not coming up on. There it is. So, image.
Oh, there you go.
Well done, JJ.
There you go.
So, here again, I go back to the point that if we're serving these governments by acting as citizen and consenting to that jurisdiction, okay, and that kingdom, what do we have whenever we, promote patriotism or whatever? Everybody gets upset when somebody messes with the flag, right? You can't burn the flag. You can't, it's not supposed to touch the ground. It's not supposed, all these rules that go along with this image.
Yeah.
Well, if we're not supposed to create these images or statues or any of this other nonsense, what are we doing when we're involving ourselves in government? If that's not idol worship, I don't know what is.
Yeah. I know what
Appreciate
you
that,
mean.
Harry. Thank you.
Yeah, I know what you mean because I experienced that. Because I actually design clothes, right? Because I am a tailor, and then I design clothes, and someone actually told me you're not supposed to make a flag and you wear it and you dance with it because I used to dance as well. So I presented our flag while dancing. So someone actually told me you could get fined when someone see you that. I said I don't know. So I don't understand that, and they think you have to respect our flag, but still I don't get it. Now I'm starting to understand it now. That
Because
is
it's a god.
idolatry. Yeah, idolatry. Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely a god. And I don't care if it's the Philippine flag, the New Zealand flag, the Israeli flag, the Canadian flag, the United States flag. I don't care what flag you're talking about. It is it's an idol. It's a form of idolatry. It is a direct violation of God's law.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anybody that professes to be Christian or hold some belief system, a theological belief system from a Judeo-Christian point of view, they're in violation of that law. They're in violation of that belief system.
Yeah.
That's not for me to judge, and I'm not trying to judge anybody. But it to me, it's painfully obvious that's what it is. I'm going to mute out for just a minute and let you guys talk so we can deal with the whining.
Oh, Harry.
I actually would like for people to ask more questions because we should.
Oh yeah, we have more questions. So I think Judy Bing, she has really studied theology here. So she actually said, based upon principles and truth, knowledge and understanding. So she just said that. She's the one who said the theological question before. So, okay, we have another one. Pastor Nicanor Escalera, what is the relationship of the American law and in the Philippines? There you go. Thank you, Pastor.
They are both imaginary.
Yeah. I mean, if it weren't for the establishment of the current Filipino government in 1902 by the American government, then the Philippines would have a completely different system of government. But again, they're both just a belief system. And, the reason I brought up the fact that the Philippine government was, basically put in place by the Americans through military force is to show that that current Filipino government is based off of the American model, the United States model. So it's you know, you're going to have to research that and dig into that more. I haven't went down that path because at the end of the day, they're both a violation of natural law. They're both a violation of God's law, because if I'm acting in my natural state in the image of God, okay, as God created, then why am I going to worry about what other men are worshiping? Why am I going to worry about what another God is commanding of its subjects? I'm not. I'm ready to move past that and exist outside of that and be foreign to it.
So, yeah, any more? I think Judy Bing, I think she actually studied theology. She answered Pastor Nick question. She said that is treaty allies on, there you go, bilateral relationship.
Bilateral relationship. Yeah. So, I listen. But again, that treaty it is only binding as long as that belief system is there. As long as there's men and women to give power to that treaty through their belief. As soon as that belief is removed, that treaty becomes irrelevant and has no power. So there you go.
Anyway, they like your puppy. Someone said, wow, cute. Chris Bolan. Okay. Any more questions for, there you go, Pastor Nick? Is the natural law supersede the land? Thank you, Pastor, for the question. More questions, please.
The natural law encompasses everything: the land, the air, the water, all of it. It's nature. It's the law of nature. It's how everything works, based off of the Almighty's design. That's just it's not going to supersede it because it is it.
Yep.
If you're talking about the law of the land nonsense, that's a different topic that I'm not going into today. Maybe we'll cover that in a week or two. But that's really that's really in depth, and I'm trying to keep things as simplified and simple to the point for this show. If you wish to learn more about that, I invite you to go to odyssey.com and look up the channel More Than Jibber Jabber. I've got over 60 episodes of More Than Jibber Jabber. You can find the links to the Odyssey channel on morethanjibberjabber.xyz. So I invite anybody that wishes to learn about that, go there. There is an article under the section called The Informer. It's called The Myth of the Law of the Land. You can go right there and do a search for Myth of Law of the Land, and it will bring that article right up. And you can delve into that if you wish, but it will explain that in great detail.
Yeah, I don't see
any more questions, France?
No, I don't see. Continue with your topic. I don't see. We'll wait for more question. More question, please. Who likes to do questions?
Well, I mean, I'm about done talking for today. I usually go for about an hour, and I mean,
I think you said enough. You said enough, man. You gave so much information. People have to think about it, analyze it, and let it sink in. They just have to.
Because last week we covered so much.
And I suggest, I suggest to everybody, like, I know a lot of people watch during the live, stream of this, but go back and watch the recording. You know, this way you can hear it again. You can, and maybe that will invite more questions that you may have. Where no one can ever learn anything without asking questions.
Yes.
I mean, it's a fundamental part of learning. We have to be willing to ask the questions.
Yes.
And I commend everybody that has asked questions for doing so. I mean, it's great. Pardon me.
Yep. I've learned that from doing Zooming all the time, and we are encouraged to ask questions and say there's no right and wrong answers, that we have to answer it either wrong, we have to correct it. If it's, and it's for everyone to hear it and learn as well when someone asks questions. Okay, what is that? Typographically
So-
error mean? What's that? I don't get that. Mirna Sigente. Is that a question?
Was that something? I didn't see it.
Mirna Sigente. Sorry, it's typographically error. I mean, what's
A
that?
typographical error. Okay. In other words, it's a typo. They didn't. They typed something
yeah.
in
Yeah,
in
I
error.
think that's talking about the all capital, the law. Yeah, because we didn't mean that. Yeah, is that what you mean, Mirna Sigente? I'm not really sure what is here.
Well, that was someone else that typed in all caps.
Yeah.
That was someone
So
else.
yeah,
that
do you
made
want to
that
say
statement.
something, Harry? We have another. We only have like an hour and 19 minutes. So what are
Yeah,
we
but
gonna do?
it's not about the quantity; it's about the quality. And I think the message today is so meaningful. People actually
Yeah.
have to, sit down and think about it, because if they don't understand it, how can we
Yeah.
continue building up on something that's so important if they don't understand the basic? So if
Yeah.
there are more questions, let's take the questions. But if not, then I suggest we finish.
I don't see any questions now. So yeah,
Do you have any question, Franz?
I
Well,
have a question. Actually, I have so many questions if you ask me. Like, because I like, if you don't talk, I actually research, and then I research about the men and women that today the lady said, if you treat yourself as a citizen, like what your topic last week, you will not win. You will not win. But if you think that you are a woman and apply that, like when the police ask you why you're not wearing mask, and then you have to tell the police, what do you think of me? Am I a woman to you? And then if the police cannot answer that, that means you win. Because the police cannot, if he doesn't understand what woman means, that means he will just go and turn his back. Because what is
yeah,
woman
that's
mean?
very dangerous. That's
Yeah.
very dangerous. Police officers, for the most part, they know their job. They don't know what you're talking about when you go. They'll tell you real quick, take it up with the judge, and they will just arrest you because that's what they know. The whole masks thing. Because you came into New Zealand and you swore an oath, France, to act as that citizen. You're kind of duty bound to wear that mask. In the manner that they say. It's going to be hard to combat that, and I'm not saying it's impossible, because you can always choose to stand as a woman, but when you have went through the whole process of becoming a legal citizen of a country, you have to renounce all other fealty to any other kingdom. In other words, any loyalty that you have to any other kingdom, then you're renouncing that. Now, why? What happens when you renounce all other kingdoms? You renounce the kingdom of heaven, do you not?
Mm. Mm.
So at that point, you're saying, hey, I'm agreeing to be under this kingdom and worship this God, as opposed to being under the kingdom of heaven and do as the Creator has commanded. So as far as dealing with police officers, I would say be nice, be nice,
Yeah.
be nice, be
Yeah.
as gentle as you possibly can, because
Yeah.
they, for the most part, don't know what you're talking about when you go, well, do I look like a woman to you? Well,
Yeah.
in this day and age, men dress up as women. I'm sorry. That they may be
Yeah.
thinking that that's where you're coming from. So yeah, that's not real good advice. And I don't know that, and again, everybody has to make their own decisions, but I don't know that I would even go near that line of thinking.
Yeah. That's
The way that I would do it is I would ask for a warrant. They have to have a violation of someone else's rights to be able to accost you in a certain manner, and to do that, they're going to have a warrant. So I would just ask to see the warrant.
yeah. And I like, because what happened 3 days ago here, and we were watching the news, and I like what you said, that just stay low. And what happened to the protesters is like, um, they're trying to fight with the government, so that's the problem there. And I've heard that those who created the fire and threw the stone are new. They're just like, how do you call? They just joined there to create the chaos. Because I am in the Telegram.
Yeah,
with
they're
New Zealand.
yeah, they're called agent provocateurs. They
Yeah,
come into these peaceful movements
protesters.
that
Yeah,
people think are peaceful. Um,
yeah,
and listen, so if we look at the word protest literally means to complain but still do. It means it's basically saying, like a child saying, I don't want to wash the dishes, but I'm going to because mommy told me to. That's a protest. People, and people don't grasp that. For whatever reason, they think protest means that they're not going to do something, and it doesn't. People are seeking remedy in the very thing that they're saying is causing them harm, and they're never going to find remedy in seeking it in these government institutions. It's never going to happen. I tell you what, if do we still have that convoy video?
Oh, Kuya Mel?
Can we play that since it didn't get played last week?
The
Because Sean makes really good points in that video.
is
Mel,
it gonna
can we
play?
bring that up?
It's
JJ, I think they didn't play the intro you made, right?
it's played.
Yeah, they didn't.
So I
The
think
intro
because
today?
JJ
The first
spent
intro
so
that-
much time. JJ
No,
spent
it's
so much
played.
time on creating something, and
No,
it could
it's
be-
played. I saw it. Today?
No,
Yeah.
that was not the new one. That was
Oh,
not the
it's
new
an
one
old
this morning.
one. Oh, okay. I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah.
Kuya Mel, we have the convoy. Scroll back. Hold on. Hold on a minute. How can I go back?
The title of the video is Convoy Protest Remedy. Do I need to put the link in the
Yeah, can you do
chat
it
here?
quick? Can you do it? Yeah, yes, please. Because
Yeah.
it's at the top
Yes.
now. Where is it?
Yeah, I can put
Yeah,
the
you
link.
have it. Yeah.
It's loading.
Okay.
1 second.
So, was it a different one? Sorry about that one. We could play that in the
So-
ending, eh? We don't have ending. Do we have ending video?
No, we can play the intro that I did this week. We can play that one because it's I think it's stronger than the first one that I put together.
It's not here yet. It's still loading.
Yeah, I put the link in the private chat in StreamYard.
Do you have another question here? I don't know. I think we have another question and I didn't see it. Sorry. Where is it?
Okay, well, go ahead. Let's ask it.
Thank you, Mayor Nasigente. Question. If my government passes a law which is contrary to natural law, do I have the right to not comply it? How do I justify?
Okay. First off, it's not your government. So that's a correction in the mind that we have to correct. I'm guilty of it too. It's not our government. We had nothing to do with the establishment of it. And we don't have anything to do with the legislation that they call law. So if you're acting as a citizen, then yes, you have to comply to it because you don't have a right. You have privileges and immunities. If you wish to be a man or a woman and act in your natural state, then yes, you have a right to do as you wish, as you don't harm anyone else. It's not, if you're not going to consent into that government, there's no need to comply or not comply because you're foreign to that government and you're outside that government's jurisdiction. You're outside of that imaginary hold that government has on its property known as a citizen, because you're not giving that citizen the appearance of life. That's it. That's the justification. I'm excluded from those commandments from that government because I'm not subject to it. So I mean that's the simplest answer I could give you is we have to quit. We have to put an end to our own belief that it's our government, because it's not. You know, it's, and if we're foreign to that government, then why do we have to argue about its rules that it makes for its citizens? We don't. You know, that's why, you know, there's many biblical references. You know, look at Babylon. What did God tell his people to do? Leave Babylon. What did God tell his people to do in Egypt? Get out of Egypt. He didn't say fight their authority. He didn't say fight them. He didn't say try to change it from the inside. He just said leave. Go somewhere else. Leave. It really is that simple. And to go somewhere else, because these things are just ideas to begin with, The only thing we have to do to leave it is stop believing in it.
Not
So are we ready to
physically
play that
moving.
video?
Yeah. Hold on, Jan. What do you mean by leave? Is it not physically leaving the country? Just don't comply? Is that what you mean? By leave?
Okay, so we don't have to physically go anywhere. We just have to. So jurisdiction is it has no real. It has boundaries, but it's still just a belief. And if we're outside of that government's jurisdiction, because we're standing in law as a man or a woman, then we have, we don't have to go anywhere, especially if we were born at, near that location that on that piece of dirt somewhere, I mean, where are they going to deport us to? There's nowhere to deport me. I was born here. You can't tell me to leave. You don't have any claim to this land. It's mine. I have claim to the land. See, governments can't even claim land because it doesn't have a voice. Only man or woman can claim the land.
Yeah, but to say that, you have to just be nice and stay low, right? You cannot fight, otherwise you lose. So
Well,
we
I
have
mean,
one.
Hey, listen, when there's bullets flying, yeah, stay low. But listen, we're none of us have any assurances about anything. None of us are guaranteed the next second of life. We could be, rubbed out that quick. So yeah, I mean, we're not guaranteed anything. All we have to do is just accept what we're given, and every second that we're given, we should appreciate it and do the most that we can. I mean, I'm out here, trying to help people come to, this idea and this belief that I think is the correct one, just due to my studies, and I'm not staying low. I mean, I'm putting my face all over the internet now. So, and by the way, I want to, one more thing. We have a new Facebook page for More Than Jibber Jabber. It's facebook.com/More Than Jibber Jabber. Please give us some likes, follows, or whatever. I don't know how to run the thing. I'm completely confused with it. So please help me get the numbers up. I don't know what to do.
I'm sharing it. It's okay. I'm sharing it so that people can hear what you are posting there, because such a waste if no one listening to it. So it needs to share and learn. Actually, I'm learning a lot from who is
And
you.
they can find the link to the video that we're getting ready to play if we're ready. Right there on that More Than Jibber Jabber page on Facebook.
The convoy one.
Yeah, the Convoy Protest Remedy is the name of
Okay,
it.
Kuya Mel, do you mind playing, Kuya Mel? Thank you so much.
In prayer, had the Canadian flag wrapped around them, and all I could think of was, thanks to you, Sean, 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 18, where he says, once this king does all this stuff to you, you're going to cry out, and the Almighty's not going to hear you. You're going to turn a deaf ear to you because you rejected him and chose that king.
Well, if I may, what are they really rejecting too? What makes it? It's maybe it's not that he doesn't want to help them, but why can't he?
Because they transgressed that law.
Well, more than that, it's more that they're seeking the wrong law.
They don't understand what their rights are
Right.
to begin
They're
with.
asking a false idol, i.e., represented by the flag, right? So we know that a representation of person is a fiction in law, right?
Yep.
So the person is Canada. The flag represents Canada. They're seeking remedy from the wrong God. belief is overriding their knowledge of their rights. Like they know they have these rights, but they don't know where to get them from. So they're running to the only God they know. They cannot see the light yet, but at least they're seeking it. So I'm not being judgmental. I'm saying until they start seeking the real law, they're never going to find it where they're looking for it.
Grace said in the chat that they can't hear because they're begging the idol.
Yeah, they're praying to the
still
wrong.
begging, playing the what?
They're praying to the wrong God. They're pleading to the courts. They're pleading to the temples of that. Look, it's they're asking the wrong people.
You got the wrong guy.
Well, those guys, that God can't grant them what's not his to grant. That there's nothing there to grant anything. The only law and rights come from the Creator, period. Now, however anybody wants to see that Creator is up to them. I'm just saying, even the Creator of creation gives you free will to consent or not. And these people don't. That tells you you're in a different jurisdiction. And if you're running to that jurisdiction, how are you going to run to the very thing that took it from you to begin with, from your perspective?
The Canadians, you're talking about the Canadians, they don't want to consent to the mandates.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't bring that up, but no, that's right. But they're trying to say that Trudeau's acting outside of his power, but he's not.
He's not acting outside of his power.
No,
Right.
it's written right into their law, man.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying it's, just because it's legal doesn't mean it's just. But, I mean, you got to understand, all these people granted that man power by voting him in. Like, they consented to it the moment they voted for him.
And one little side note, by them standing there holding the Canadian flag, that's also them supporting the belief system of
Well, more so,
Trudeau-
they're saying that they're Canadian property.
Yeah.
Canadian persons, right?
Trudeau's like, oh, there's one of my sheep. They're out of the pen, man. Put them back in the box. And they're going, we can't do this. And he's like, yes, I can.
So they're standing there holding the flag saying, I'm a Canadian citizen. And he's saying, okay.
I'll give
Thank
you what you gave me to give you.
Right, because they don't understand what a citizen
Like,
is.
everybody knows he's out of his mind, but nobody knows how to take away his clothes.
Won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases. We don't care what they say. It's God over the government.
There you go. Very clear.
And that's exactly what I've been talking about this morning too, right? I mean, it's and this is the kind of stuff that we talk about on More Than Jibber Jabber all the time. And Sean is, he's very knowledgeable in the biblical aspects of what we talk about, and he's very dogmatic in his belief, and comes from that perspective, and I appreciate that from him, but he has a way of like making these connections that necessarily I may not make. So that's why in what I do, what I teach, I try to keep things as simple as I possibly can for the folks that are listening to and watching this podcast. So I appreciate everybody that has come over to listen to More Than Jibber Jabber. I hope that what we talk about there is making sense to you. And again, if it doesn't, feel free to go onto the website More Than Jibber Jabber XYZ, and right there, as soon as you get to the front page, you'll be able to find all of the links and everything to the Telegram groups and everything else. I don't have the Facebook page up there yet, but it will be coming soon. But yeah, come and talk to us on the Telegram group. We'd be happy to answer questions there all the time. I know that we have had quite a few people that have heard this segment on GMTV, and they've joined and they've been asking some questions, and I encourage more to do the same. And we appreciate everybody that has joined. Glad to have you guys there.
Thank you. Yeah. Harry. do
So
you
Harry,
wanna- Hmm.
you want to talk about
Last night?
last night?
No, I just had a lecture here locally to the local people, and I just echoed and spoke what I learned from JJ, Christine, and Sean. So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you guys, because thanks to your teaching, people are waking up in different places, Israel, the Philippines. You have
Yeah.
great effect, so it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I want to say that in the end of the day, this is what JJ is showing you is a way to live honorably and peacefully and voluntarily, and remove yourself from the fiction. Go back to the natural state of how things should be, and stop allowing other people to control your life. You should ask yourself a simple question: can you say no to the government? Can you say no, funds, to the government right now?
I can say now because I know who I
No,
am. I am a
before.
woman.
Before.
I can't because I don't have any knowledge.
Okay,
We
so
can
it means
only say no when we have knowledge how to say it properly.
Exactly.
Otherwise you're gonna be
So-
the same to the protester. That they're all broken bones now.
So everyone who cannot say, I mean, when the government is telling the citizens what to do, and you find yourself connected with that citizen false identity, and you ask yourself, can I say no to the government? And the answer is no, I cannot say no. Then you should just know that you are a slave. Do you want to live as a slave, or do you want to be a free man? If you want to be a free man, it comes with responsibilities, and then you have to make the hard decision to behave morally, objectively morally. So hoping that I'm not mistaken, then that's all I have to say.
I think what we're doing now is applicable now because of what's happening to our world. Before it was okay to be a citizen because the government is
No, Franz, no. It was
not,
never
not,
okay.
not before.
No,
Not okay.
never okay.
But now,
You just woke up to see the symptoms of a very, very dangerous disease that we all suffered from, but it was always wrong.
it was always wrong.
For every generation.
But now you can see the wrong that they're doing now.
You
so we
can see it even
say-
before. You can see it even before. Open any
I was
history
blind
book.
before. I was
Even the-
blind before.
Even if you open a mainstream book of history with all the lies and deceptions there, you can very quickly recognize the wrongs that are happening because of the force of government. It's so visible when you look at it with critical eyes. So government is always wrong, and the belief in government is even worse. Stop believing in governments.
Yeah. I think I would say that was before when we don't know because we thought the government is always correct. So we follow them. But now that we know, we're starting to learn natural law. We know that the government doing wrong, raping us or the things that we don't want. You see?
Yeah, but
Where's
in
TJ?
the end of he lost power. In the end of the day,
Yeah.
think about it. When the government is using force against you, who do they send? They send your own children acting as police officers or army or agents of the government to use force against you, right?
Yeah.
So if you're
Yeah.
going to teach your children that using force against another living man is wrong, then eventually they are not going to become agents of the government, because they are not going to believe in this institution. And then the government is not going to have anyone to actually use force against you, and you will be allowed to live your life as you see fit without violence.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is back.
He's back now again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, puppy hit something and the laptop just shut right off. I luckily I was able to get it back up and running. Sorry about that.
we have very We have very positive feedback at the moment. Lorita Bilna said we can say no to the government because I learned today. Wow, praise God. Thank you so much. This is our purpose here. Bear in mind, we're not just teaching natural law. Also, we're teaching God's law, which is the Bible, because I myself studying theology at the moment. So other people say, oh, you can't just teach like no not Bible. They said there's no Holy Spirit. We're trying to teach here everything, like the whole package from this JJ Wobnard and everyone. So yeah, we can apply it ourselves because the Bible itself, it's very hard to understand. But this thing here, teaching you basic, and after that you read natural law. I think GT even can give you the resources for that to research for yourself and do it yourself and learn from them. Because you can't just like what you hear now, you just listen right away. You have to clarify, verify, research to yourself and understand it. And what Wobner said, just like, put it in your heart. What you think, what's good, and what's wrong and right. So we are here to teach people what we don't know. Because until now, I'm still learning from them, learning myself who I am, who is you. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the topic of last Sunday's show. So, who is you?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's more than just, like I said. I say this all the time. It's more than just saying no to the government. As soon as we say no, we're contracting with it. So we're all we're doing is rebutting the presumption that they have some type of authority over us.
Yeah.
And that's what we're doing. We're establishing who we are as men and women. Under the law of nature, under the law of God. I am getting a serious echo. Are you?
There is an echo.
Yeah, you have echo. Maybe log out and come back again.
Does she have a speaker on?
So, you have speaker on? It's okay now. Yeah.
Here, how about now?
Oh, that's good now.
Oh, somebody said something. Yeah.
Okay.
JJ, can you explain to the audience why when they say no, instead of refuting the presumption, why when they say no, it's also a form of contract?
Because if I'm saying no, I'm arguing the fact. I'm defending. As soon as we start defending and arguing their facts, we've already lost. We're if I walk up and say I owe you $10, well, and you say, and no I don't owe you $10, or I don't owe you that much, or whatever the argument would be. It wouldn't be like, are you sure you sure you have the right guy? Because if somebody calls you on the telephone, do you immediately just accept that they've got the right guy, or do you say, hey, wait a minute, who is this? Wait, who is it you're looking for? And that's all we're saying that you have to do when rebutting the presumption. You're making them carry the liability for making their claim. You're asking for verification. Are you sure you have the right man? Well, no, I'm looking for the person. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a man. I'm not that person. So it's not a real simple answer here. The idea is to make sure that they are burdened with the liability and not you, because it leaves the realm of presumption and goes to assumption very quickly. And presumption carries no liability, assumption does. So that's the biggest difference. You're assuming that as soon as you say no, you're assuming the liability. You're the one that's giving it. You're the one that's giving it life at that point, because you're acknowledging it in some way. I choose not to do that. I choose to, wait a minute. First off, let's make sure who, I want to know who it is that's saying this. Okay, notice I said saying it, so they have to speak it, because anything in writing, if it's not handwritten, how am I to know that it's from a man or a robot? I don't know. So it's very important to establish who's communicating. Who are they looking for? So, we don't want to argue facts, because as soon as we start arguing the facts of their accusations, then we've lost.
Mm.
And that's what's happening with all these protests. People are arguing the facts of their stuff. Well, it can't force me to abide by that mandate. Well, if you're acting as their property, the citizen, then yeah, absolutely they can, because you consented to be governed by that system. And that's the flaw in all of these protests around the world. They're looking for remedy in the very place that they believe is caused them harm.
Mm. Mm. So,
Thank
this
you.
is for Harry, because Harry said, do you want to put your flag? How did I say it before, Harry? And then suddenly I was like shocked, because Harry said, there's nothing. What did you say? I got nothing to do with that flag. I am a man. Remember that?
Yeah.
And I don't get that. And I said, what is she talking about? About your flag? You don't want to present your flag?
Yeah, it has nothing to do with me. It's not my flag.
Yeah.
It's the government's flag.
Mm.
Yep.
But how the people can tell you where you're from if you don't have your flag?
They will ask me and I will explain.
From his
I,
parents.
I,
How would
I
you
came from
explain?
my mother.
Yeah. How would you explain yourself if you don't? Can you use yourself as Israeli or Filipino or American?
No, God forbid. I'm just a man who happens to live in a geographical area that other people claim to identify as Israel. But I don't
So-
see Israel. I see land, I see mountains, I see sea, lakes, and mankind. So
That's the Son of God. There's no race, no flag, no religion, no
no,
culture.
there is race.
Yeah? What is the
Yeah.
The
race?
human race, the mankind. Mankind is
Mankind.
well, the human race is accurate because it's descriptive. It's an adjective.
Okay. I was
Yeah.
just
It's
Let's
a
explain.
property
Let's
of
explain.
mankind.
okay.
Yeah. So that's the race.
Okay, so
human mankind.
real quick, so a human is always okay. So it's human is not a noun. If you look up the word human in this dictionary, and I'm
The online version is now offline.
yeah, there it is,
Yeah.
right there. I'll cover
American-
up my ugly mug and lean back so you guys
American Dictionary.
So-
It moves a lot. Yeah.
can see. It's the Webster's 1828.
Mm.
Okay. Here, let's see if I can show the. There it is. Okay.
Closer?
You,
Can you
you
do
can
closer?
get a copy of this.
Mm.
Okay. So here, so you don't have to.
It's. There we go.
American
right, so-
Dictionary of the English. What's
Yeah,
that?
Of the
Dictionary?
English language.
A
Yeah.
language.
Yeah, it's a dictionary.
Yeah, 820.
It's called the Webster's 1828. Okay, it's the most unadulterated
English.
dictionary that's in existence. Okay, and by unadulterated, I mean it doesn't have a bunch of slang terms in it. It doesn't have a bunch of political terms in it, and it doesn't have a lot of legalese terms such as status. Status does not appear in this dictionary because it's not a word in the English language. It's a legal and political term that are defined by different governments. But now the word human is in this dictionary. And if you will give me just a second.
I just sent it to you on Telegram.
Okay. Well, I don't have Telegram up.
Well, here I have the picture of it. So
human. Okay, human is an adjective. Okay, and there it is. Human is an adjective meaning a property, okay, belonging to man or mankind. So it's something that describes something that belongs to man or mankind. So human race. The race is a property, is an attribute of mankind. So it would describe which race we're talking about, because we're not talking about cattle. We're not talking about deer. We're talking about mankind, right? Now, you will also find out that if you look at this dictionary, that the word human is profane, not sacred or divine.
Yeah.
As a human author. Okay.
Yeah.
What do human authors authorize? They authorize governments, right? They go vote and grant authority to those governments. Well, if the human is not divine or sacred and is profane, then what about what they're granting authority to? So that's what I'll leave everybody with this week.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Do you want to say something, Christine? Are we gonna stop now? Because it's 2 hours now. Parting words. Yeah. Any parting
just
words?
thank you for having us, and hopefully we'll be here again next week without any power issues.
2 weeks in a row
okay.
now.
Wow.
Pardon me.
Yeah. Harry, do you want to say a parting word? What's a relaxing night tonight?
No, thank you for having us, and please listen again to the recording, maybe more than once, until you understand it very deeply.
Yeah.
That's the basic.
Yeah. It's a big topic, hey? It will take us a while to explain this. Yeah. Oh, by the way, it was a very good topic with William Gardner. I've listened to him.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it was really good. Yeah. Okay. I don't know, Kuya Mil's there because we're finishing now. Kuya Mil, do you want to say something? It's such a relaxing thing. We don't want to go over now. Yeah.
Something.
I don't know. Kuya Mil's there. Kuya Mil, we're leaving now. I mean, oh, do you want to play have you play the Biden?
Yeah. Did you get the for
I
this
forwarded
week?
it. Yeah.
The new one? Yeah, it was on Facebook and in the group on Telegram.
Did we play the Biden one today? I didn't.
Yeah, I moved past that really quick.
Oh, okay.
That's
all right.
Yeah, we'll go into that next week.
Okay. So yeah, thank you so much, Kuya Mel. Do you wanna say your parting thing, or we're just gonna close now? Kuya Mel is in the background. Yeah,
I bet he wants to say something.
Kuya Mel, are you there?
Something, yeah.
You wanna just something?
Just remember to play the video that JJ created, the latest one that is before we
The
finish.
ending one. I already sent the yeah, again, the last in our group chat. Okay, if Kuya Mel is busy, so we can just pray for our closing prayer then, a short one. Is Kuya Mel there? Oh yeah, yeah, here you go. He has a new look. Can you
Okay,
see Kuya
so
Mel?
I just want to say something.
Our monk, I like the monk look. We are complete here. Can you see? We have a monk, we have Israeli, we have American, and I am here in I don't know what you call this. We are international, really. Okay, international. Okay, we'll just pray now, Kuya. That's all. Do we have something to say for next week? It's always candid high. Our topic is always candid. So, yeah, you're gonna get what you know. It's like a back of chocolate.
I haven't gotten that far. I haven't
Not
gotten that
yet.
far
I know it's a big topic.
Excuse me.
JJ here, Webnard and Christine don't want to say a lot of things like what happened last week. We covered so much, and they think that it's going to confuse all the listeners if we talk the hard one. So they're only teaching you basic for now. It's just a basic. We haven't even get to the guests at the moment. It's just us, eh? Because someday they're gonna bring in the guests like William and
Yeah, I'm
Ruby?
trying to talk some other people into coming on. So it's just
But you still
it's
have a lot to-
really early here for them.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
I think
yeah,
you still
yeah.
have a lot to cover anyway. You still have a lot to cover. Okay.
Oh,
We'll just say
yeah.
thank you now. Thank you so much for watching our international segment. This is for everybody to learn natural law, God's law.
Canadian.
What's that? Okay, God's law. For I have to just say the experience that I have because I shared something and someone said you have to share Jesus and said no, we have to know. We have to let people know what's happening to our world and what they need to know. Otherwise, if you only teach about Jesus, religion, they don't have any knowledge. You know, like what happened now. We have to teach this slowly, in you know, like what you said, basic. So yeah, okay. We will close to the prayer now. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Father. Thank you that you have revealed your love to us today. We invite you to send us out from here in the power of the Holy Spirit, fan into flame the gifts that you have given us. Come reveal your grace and truth to us each day. For yours the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Thank you so much,
Amen.
everybody. Thank you. See you
Thank
again
you.
next week.
And
God bless.
maybe
Thank
we
you.
can go out with that new intro there, Mel.
Yeah. Thank you so much, co-host. Thank you so much. See you.
See you guys next
Thank
week.
you so much, viewers. Yeah. See you next week. See the intro, Kuya? The other one?
Not that one. The
other one,
new-
Kuya. I
Most
just-
of the protesters kneel down in
Facebook.
Not that one, Kuya. The other one I just sent at the end of the co-host. There. 1 minute, 1 minute and 2 seconds. I don't know if we are able to play that. You're able. It's right here, Kuya, at the end of the co-host. GMTV International Resistance.
The problem is my computer.
Oh, I know. We'll wait. Anyway, thank you so much, JJ. It was very nice and relaxing topic today. Wobnart, thank you so much, Christine. Such a relaxing topic. Are we stuck here?
Yeah. There we go. It wouldn't unmute for me for some reason. Well, I appreciate you being interested in it. I mean, I'm glad that people are learning.
Over the face that the
Really
Lord
good.
created so it can be seen. Tired of the fake trending all over the place. We just want to be free. There's no fear with faith is praising still.
I know what you're trying to do. I'm trying to free your mind.
Uncover the face that the Lord created so it can be seen. Tired of the fake trending all over the place. We just want to be free. There's no fear with faith is praising still. We're hiding underneath. We won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases. We don't care what they say. It's God over the government. Won't have it any other way. It's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say. It's God over the government.
I'm trying to free your mind.
I know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to free your mind.
Uncover the face that the Lord created so it can be seen. Tired of the fake trending all over the place. We just want to be free. There's no fear with faith is praising still. We're hiding underneath. We won't bow down to the golden cow and do as it pleases. We don't care what they say. It's God over the government. Won't have it any other way. It's God over the government. And we just don't understand how they put their faith in man. We don't care what they say. It's God over the government.
I'm trying to free your mind.
I know what you're trying to do.
I'm trying to free